What's up, guys? Andrew Oler with Dirt Rider here, and we are in the hills of Southern California today. We got plenty of rain these past few days, and today we're testing a Honda CRF450X. It was built by Jay Clark here, and Jay's going to go through some of the modifications he did to this bike and let you know exactly what he did to make this bike so special.
All right, cool. Thanks, Andrew. This bike, by our standards today, is kind of a vintage bike now. You know, like with the carburetor, this bike is the same from 05 to 18, same basic bike. They did a couple little changes, but it's basically the same thing. And these bikes are still really good in the right conditions. We talked about earlier about how if you were to compare this to, say, a brand new fuel-injected four-stroke, okay, not quite the same thing. But in the wide-open desert stuff, there's still a lot of guys who prefer this down in Baja. They really love these bikes because they're good, reliable, nice and straight. They don't get out of shape on them. So we got a good deal on this bike. We bought it in the summertime. In California, the best time to buy dirt bikes is in the summertime. You get a good deal on them. So the main mods we did to this thing were a high compression piston from Vertex, hot cams, stage 2 camshaft, and then we open up the air box, we cut the pink wire, and we jet this thing. And we'll have that jetting all listed in the story. And that really just opens this thing up. And honestly, you could do without the piston and cam if you just opened everything up and put the slip-on muffler from FMF. That would get you, a large percentage of the increase just by doing those mods. So doing those mods are the main thing. And then we went the extra mile, added the high compression piston and cam. So this thing is as fast or faster than an R. And this thing's probably as fast as a new bike, just not as smooth and easy to ride, as the newer bikes. And Factory Connection's known for Honda suspension and Showa suspension. So we had them go through and tune this stuff. It hadn't been messed with since 07, since it came over from Japan. So we got this stuff freshened up. And then while we were at it, we went ahead and threw some cool parts in this thing. Got the Tusk wheels on it, kept the 18-inch rear wheel, Super sprocket, O-ring chain, of course, for durability. Trail Tech got their kickstand on here, IMS pegs, and the IMS oversized tank. Having an oversized tank on these things is nice in those big rides. You can just ride all day long on this thing. On these things don't use a ton of fuel, so having a big tank, you can get a lot of miles. We got the plastic UFO, got us all updated plastic headlight. We didn't upgrade the lighting system on this bike. We just kept it stock since we're not going to be doing a bunch of, dual sporting or anything like that. Got Renthal bars, Enduro Engineering handguards. We went ahead and upgraded the Tusk has a steel braided brake line. The front brake lines on these older, this bike is, 13, 14 years old. So it's good to, those lines can deteriorate. So we got a really strong front brake on this thing still by upgrading that. And I got the oversized front rotor on it as well. So got the Hinson clutch pieces in here, and Decal Works does custom graphics for me, or for everybody, but for me to give this thing a really good custom look. Moto seat cover matches, and then a lot of our Works Connection little bling bits. And then the one really functional thing, of course, is their clutch perch. Radiator guards, and we had radiator guards on this side. We had to cut it away a little bit for our Trail Tech fan. We wanted to add a fan, so if we get into tight stuff, this thing won't get too hot in the tight stuff, which these bikes will run a lot harder than some of the newer bikes, so we want to make sure we keep the temps down on there. And so those are the main mods. TM Designs makes a really cool skid plate, and all their we're used to TM Designs makes these chain guides and disc guards, and they also have a skid plate for this bike that's really nice, bolts right up. It was a pretty good, easy install on that as well. So again, those are the main mods, and hopefully you guys have some fun riding this thing today.
Yeah, totally looking forward to it, and with great dirt, I think it should make for a great day.
Excellent.
All right, so we just got done riding Jay's project bike here, and he wasn't kidding, man. This bike is really fast. Obviously, it still has a carburetor, but the bike revs really quickly. It's well jetted, and you'd almost, at first I was riding in second gear in some of these tighter corners, and after a while I really realized I could ride third and just kind of fan the clutch, and the bike definitely pulled it from the low end, but real quick revving, and on the fast straightaways, there were plenty of them here today. The bike it moves. I mean, you really have to have your foot underneath that shifter, ready to upshift, because it, as I mentioned before, it revs quickly and it gets going in a hurry. Suspension wise, the fork was super plush. I did a few small jumps here today, and on the slap down landings, really maintained plushness and felt really comfortable. The shock absorbed everything really well, and had a plush feel as well. Didn't kick out or do anything out of the ordinary like that. And chassis-wise, the bike cornered pretty well. It was very stable in a straight line as well. Definitely favors straight line stability, I feel, as it should. It's kind of more of a desert bike. So we had a great time riding Jay's bike today. He did a great job of really showing us what you can do to a slightly older model bike to not only bring it back to life, but to make it, almost competitive with the bikes today. With a slightly different character, obviously, with the carburetor. But yeah, thanks again for Jay for building this bike for us, letting us ride it, and head on over to dirtrider.com to read the rest of the story.